Hi, welcome to my channel, Organized with Joy. In today's video, I wanted to do something a little bit different and I was going to share a home project with you today. So I'm sitting in our living room and I'm sitting on the sofa in part because I wanted these photos, this gallery wall, to be behind me so that I could talk about the idea that I have in this room. So I decided that it was time to go ahead and replace this gallery wall with something different. And there's a lot of reasons why I've decided to replace this gallery wall. The first reason is because I actually hung this gallery wall on this wall when we moved into this house coming up on 11 years ago, and I just haven't changed it since. And this exact same setup was actually also in our old house in my husband and my bedroom. So I've had these frames for many, many years, and I feel like it's just time to let them go. One of the other reasons why I decided to go ahead and switch this out is because, as you can see, some of these frames are kind of that walnut wood, and as I've changed this room up, I feel like there's too many wood tones in this room. And so while I love using wood tones to make a room feel warmer and cozier, I just feel like there's too many competing wood tones going on right now. And so this is just one way to eliminate one of those wood tones. The other reason why I decided to go ahead and let go of this gallery wall is because I actually have several gallery walls in my home, and in specific I have several gallery walls showcasing pictures of my family and of my children. And so I just feel like it's time to make this wall something a little bit different and more simplistic. Another reason I've decided to change it up is because my kids are getting older now, and I don't know if you can tell, but all these pictures are from a very long time ago. My oldest is 23, and then I also have a 19 and 16-year-old, and so I just have a lot of pictures around my house of when they were younger, and it's fun to reminisce, but now that they're getting older, it just seems like an appropriate time. Lastly, I also just am trying to achieve a more simplistic look throughout my home. And for whatever reason, I guess maybe because I use this room the most, I've always worked on this room first as a place to achieve that simplistic look. And so I will show you what I am thinking. So I'm standing in another corner of this living room, and I have these prints that are blueprints of this home. And I found these a few years ago when I was cleaning out one of the drawers in our home. The previous homeowners had stuck it in this folder with all of the instruction manuals and things like that that belonged in the home, like to the dishwasher, etc. And it was just folded up and stuffed inside of that folder. And I decided that I wanted to display these, and so I tried my best to get it so that the creases came out, and I had a couple of extra frames already on hand, and so I just used those frames that I had on hand to display these. And I really enjoy having these. I love the simplistic look. I love the streamlined black frames and just the simplistic artwork of the blueprint sketches. In addition to that, I get a lot of comments from people who come visit my home, commenting on these prints, asking where I got them, and so it's kind of a fun story to tell them that I just uncovered them while I was decluttering a drawer. Originally, I got these prints at a local frame store. It was called Aaron Brothers, And since then they have actually closed down, but when I did some searching online, I noticed that Michael's, the craft store, has maybe absorbed that company because they have this same line of frames. Like I mentioned, I absolutely love these frames and how simplistic they are. And at Aaron Brothers, I would always wait until what was called their penny sale. And basically, if you buy one frame, you'd get the second one for a penny. And so I always made sure that I waited for that sale. So I got a really good deal on these frames. And when I found them on Michael's website, they were actually on sale. They were 50% off. So they ended up being a really good deal still. So I needed to purchase 4 more of these frames to create the setup that I wanted. I was going to display 4 more of these prints. I just have them hidden behind. I don't know if you can see from there, but this is just the front elevation of our home. But there were pretty much all the blueprints from the original sketches. So I was just going to look through all of them and see which ones that I liked best aesthetically. And then I was able to purchase the exact same frame online, and I was hoping it would be identical, and when it arrived it was. So I'm so glad they all 6 will match. And I'm also hoping that it won't be like too much. I feel like it's gonna take up a good portion of that wall, and the frames won't span the entire length of the sofa, but almost the entire length, which in my opinion is probably not ideal. But I'm just hoping that with this simplistic artwork that it'll still look amazing. I'm going to start by removing these frames from the wall, and I have another idea for this space on this wall, so you'll have to stay tuned to see that later in the video. And here I realized that the frame is broken a little bit. It's not very bad, and I had some wood glue on hand, and I preferred to just go ahead and repair it than go through the trouble of trying to return them and then reorder more frames. And here I'm just removing the extra prints so that I can put them in the new frames.
I used to love it, I used to love him. Now it's just you inside my head. I used to have dreams, I used to want things, but I want you next to me instead. Another way to keep you coming.
And apparently I was very ready to remove this gallery wall because I totally forgot to hit record before I started taking the picture frames down. But here I am showing you just removing all of the nails from the wall.
Or just one night with you, I love. Think of all the things that we could do, I love. Just know that this love is falling apart. If I spend this life without you, I love you. I would die for one more night with you.
I went ahead and filled all the holes with some wood filler and let that dry, and then I used some sandpaper to sand it down. That way I had a nice clean slate for hanging up my new frames.
Rose, I'll never let go. Pressing against the way, keep coming back to me, back to me.
I also grabbed the paint color from this room so that I could go ahead and touch up all the places where I had repaired the holes.
Would die for just one night with you, my love. Think of all the things that we would do, my love. Just know that this love is falling apart. If I spend this life without you, my love.
Here, I'm just taking some measurements. I'm measuring along the floor just because that's a lot easier. I'm measuring the entire length of the wall. My initial plan was to center the frames in the middle of the wall and then move the sofa so that it was centered under the frames, but I realized that I really liked where my sofa was located, and so in the end I just moved my sofa back to where it was and I centered the frames over the sofa.
Just know that this love is falling apart. If I spend this life without you, my love, I would die for one more night with you.
Next, I lay out the setup that I want to achieve on the floor, and then I take my measurements from there. And I always like to start at the center of a gallery wall. So I'm going to be taking some measurements here, and then I will start with the center frames and go from there. These frames are a little bit more challenging than other frames to hang because there are 2 hooks on the back instead of just 1, so you have to be careful so that the frame hangs level. I start by measuring the space between the hooks so I know how much space there needs to be between each nail, and then I take the midpoint of that measurement and line it up with the midpoint that I marked out on the wall behind the sofa where I want the center of my gallery wall to be. This process is just a matter of measuring and remeasuring and then using your level to make sure you have your nail holes in the right location. You might have to move it up or down and then remeasure again to make sure it's exactly the right distance apart. Next, to put on the top frame, I'm measuring the distance between where the nail hole of the bottom frame is located to the nail hole of where the top frame is located, if that makes sense.
Sit and romanticize. I'm holding hope of us resurfacing with your reply. Loving you is tragic.
And next, I'm going to measure the distance between where the frame in the middle and the frame on the right, where the nail holes line up on those 2, and that way I can get that measurement. And you will also need to account for the gap between the 2 frames as well.
It's you. Chicken the cat and I. Your face in places while I'm driving. It hurts but feels so good to find you hiding. And the little things you left that I keep finding, but I keep finding. All I want is, all I want is you.
basically just keep repeating that process until all 6 frames are in place.
Waiting for the leaves to fall, another year, how it comes undone. You try to find a place to hide, all the places are already old now. On to the better days, straight on to the better days, on to the better days, letting this go. You need a revolution, now you're down to the wire, down to the wire, no. Ooh, I'll be on your side, walking that little wire. Always on my mind, I'll be on your. Staring straight to the light, still searching for understand your life. Terrified of all the hate, seen so many do so much, can't afford to ignore. On to the better days, straight on to the better days, on to the better days, letting this go. You need a revolution, now you're down to the wire, down to the wire, long. Ooh, I'll be on your side, walking that little wire. Always on my mind, I'll be on your.
Being able to hang up that last frame is always such an amazing feeling.
I go a little crazy sometimes. Can you believe it? Yeah, I swear I'm fine, that I'm alright, but I'm barely breathing.
The next project that I wanted to do was to spray paint these walnut legs on the chairs that were in that room to a flat black finish, and so I'm just going ahead and giving them a quick clean before I spray paint them.
And when I'm with you, I know who I am and who I wanna be. I'm not trying to be dramatic, no.
last thing that I did in this space was I replaced our old ugly fan with a fun light fixture, and I will share about the saga of the light fixtures here in a minute. So initially I ordered this light to go in that front room, and it ended up being too small. I did measure it. I guess I'm just not good at like picturing things, so I have it here in my laundry room because my plan is to install it in here, but this was light fixture number 1. The next one I ordered is this one from IKEA. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that, but that's what that is. It's a pretty popular light. A lot of people have it. It's really cute. I don't know if I can't hold it up and hold the camera, but the issue here is that I really struggled to install this one because of how it's designed. I won't go into the details of it, but actually hooking up light fixtures is not difficult at all. It's really simple. It's just a matter of like actually installing it. And my dog apparently wants to get in the box. So I decided against this one, but I still really like this one, and I'm debating if I should keep trying or maybe even hire an electrician to install it, but I'll show you the one I landed on. So this is the one that I have installed right now, and it actually works. So I do like it. I just like the IKEA one better. The IKEA one is a little more grand. I could lower the cord a little bit and that may make it look a little bit more grand. I feel like it's maybe slightly small for this space, but let me know down in the comments which one you like better. And I actually have looked at a couple of different ones that I like as well, but I don't know if it's worth ordering yet another light fixture. So let me know down in the comments if you like this one. It's from World Market, or the IKEA one that my dog desperately wants to get in the box with. And here I'm just showing you that I'm using the all-purpose Mrs. Meyer's cleaning spray to clean. So the final thing I always like to do whenever I'm making over a space is to go ahead and give it a good clean. That's always the final touch.
So most of us are chained to being busy, so we can earn a little peace of mind.
And for the wood furniture that I have, I always just use the Method Wood for Good product to clean those things.
American dream. Oh, help me believe life is more than what we've been told it's supposed to be. Still repeating our histories, even with a warning sign. Please, please help me out. Frustrated this is the selfish world that we've been given. Oh, can we try and help each other out? So let me be. Let me be. Let me be free. Let me be. Let me be free. So what does it mean to be free? To be free in this American dream. Oh, help me believe life is more what we've been told, what we've been told, what we've been told, what we've been told.
Here is a shot of what this room looked like before I did this small room makeover.
La let me be, la let me be free. La let me be, la let me be, let.
And here is what it looked like afterwards. You can see in this corner I replaced those prints with this vintage accordion rack that I got off of Facebook Marketplace, and I just hung one of my hats and then a macrame hanging on there as well. Well, thank you for watching my video today. I hope it inspired you in some way. If you're new to my channel or you have not yet subscribed, I would love for you to consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks, have a great day, see you next time.